one thing that I find with, I guess a lot of neurodivergent people who are quite shy, or like they struggle a lot to engage in conversation or express their thoughts, it's not necessarily because they can't. I think a lot of people, especially if they have received a lot of negative feedback from opening their mouth and speaking their mind, then it's sort of, there's this anxiety that sort of holds them back and makes them nervous about speaking, you know? And I think that generally comes from being around people who are very emotionally reactive. So like someone who is emotionally reactive will, like if you say something and it doesn't come across the right way, and you say it and they perceive it to be negative, they will take that as like the final say in a sense, and they will go off that for the entirety of the conversation. But if you have someone who is not very emotionally reactive, what they tend to do when you say something that they perceive as being negative, either about them or to them, they will ask you what you mean, or they'll ask you to follow up exactly or explain what you mean before reacting to what you're saying. Finding people like that, I think, is incredibly important if you find yourself very worried. I think it's something that perhaps a lot of ADHDers can struggle with, you know, 'cause sometimes, you know, your mouth outruns your brain in a sense. At least that's how I've heard it being described. And you can say stuff that you don't necessarily mean, or you can say stuff that people can interpret in a way that, you know, usually perhaps if you had a few more seconds to think about it, you might not have said, but it's not necessarily the meaning of what you were trying to say, if that makes sense. But if you're around someone who's very emotionally reactive and you're feeling comfortable and you're just letting the socializing happen, as soon as you say something that gets interpreted in a bad way, that can sort of put you on edge and stop you from speaking your mind as much, and therefore making socializing very stressful, not really feeling as confident in yourself about or comfortable around that person. And I feel like you should feel comfortable enough to do that. That would be me, stream of consciousness, stream of processing what I think and feel about something. Yeah. And isn't it nice just like you say something wrong and then someone just asks you what you mean? Like, you know, and you have a few seconds to process, like, oh yes, I said it in this way, I did not mean it to come across in that way, I'm actually meaning this. And that's what they react to, your actual meaning of things. That'd be so great, because that would just, you just, all the cross-cognitive differences that you can have between yourself and neurotypicals or people of different neurotypes, it wouldn't necessarily hinder you from having effective communication with them, because one person says something that feels a bit out of pocket, you can ask them what exactly they mean, and you can just sort of clear that up.